The moment you accept the paycheck, your brain goes dead. He says, as long as you're hungry, you'll think. My rich dad started teaching me about money on one condition. And that condition was he would never pay me. He says, the moment I pay you, you think like an employee. He says, that's the trap. Entrepreneurs work for free. And now I'm 9 years old. My head's going cracking in half. He says, you never want a paycheck. I understand that, kid. I said, okay, I got it. We all have fear. To be truthful, we all have fear. It's just how you deal with it. And Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge, but knowledge empowers imagination. Gotta have the basic knowledge of taxes, debt, financial statements, and all that. If you don't want to learn it, I can't help you. My poor dad never wanted to learn what my rich dad was teaching. And what most people lack is real business knowledge. You've got to know that stuff, but they don't teach it in school to anybody. The school system is made to prepare you to be a worker, which is important, or a doctor or a lawyer, a special kind of worker. But it never teaches you about money. Being poor is passed down. It is learned in your families. The middle class is also learned in families. So, those who are at home now, who are having money problems or are worried about cash or unhappy, even if they earn a lot, were taught this. Rich people may think, don't tell them what you know, keep them poor. Poor people will always be here because it starts in their minds. It's in their words. When they say, I can't afford it, or I can't do that, they become what they say. I've seen many people say, I can't afford it. Do you think that made them rich? My rich dad would say, that's why they are poor. Poor people often say, I can't afford it, I can't do that, or I don't have time. This is a way to escape. It's easy to say I can afford it. Oh, I'm too tired. Oh, I can go to the gym. You know when you could go to the gym, but now I can't. The truth is I'm just too lazy to go to the gym. But the thing is, we become creatures of our own habits. And until we change the habit, we don't improve. The way he taught me about money was by playing Monopoly. One day, I got upset and asked, when will you teach me about money? He said, what do you think we're doing? We're playing Monopoly. He said, no. What do you think we're doing? I said, I don't know. He said, I'm teaching you about money. And that's why you have one greenhouse. He said there are many ways to succeed with money. There are thousands of them. But one of the best ones from the game of Monopoly is still true today. For greenhouses, one red hotel. I said, what? He says that one of the best ways to get rich is by playing Monopoly for real. For greenhouses, one red hotel. Is that all? He replies, that's it. And he asks, what do you think I'm doing? I said, I don't know. Then he took me to see his greenhouses. 10 years later, when I was 19, I was in school in New York. I came back to Hawaii and rich dad had bought a huge piece of land right in the middle of Waikiki Beach. If you visit Waikiki Beach today, you'll see the Hyatt Regency Hotel, which was his hotel, just like in Monopoly. He bought assets, and they became bigger assets. He kept doing it. It was called an assemblage because that land was small at first. He had to buy out a lot of small owners since Waikiki was a tiny town. He bought from one shop owner and then another. It took time, but he finally put together a large piece of land. Then he and Hyatt built a huge hotel, and it just sold for millions. That's how I learned about money. Then in 1997, Rich Dad, Poor Dad came out. The story is that every publisher rejected me. They said I didn't know what I was talking about because I claimed savers were losers. Your house isn't an asset, and the rich don't work for money. The publishers were like my dad, smart in school with the students, so they turned down the book. I had to self-publish it. A lot of network marketing companies like Amway picked it up to help recruit because it's about financial independence, which is what they want too. Then Oprah called in 2000. The next time I was on her show, I went from being unknown to famous overnight in 2000. The book stayed on the New York Times bestsellers list for 7 years until they removed it. They said it was on for too long. But as you know, most people in publishing or journalism are against making money. That's like my poor dad's view. So that's the story. I play a real-life game of Monopoly. I don't need a job or a retirement. I don't want the government to support me, but I feel I should teach others. That's what my rich dad did for me. The average person is poor because they haven't failed. They play it too safe and don't make mistakes, as they were taught in school, so they don't learn anything. That's why the school system is broken. It's against real education. Don't make mistakes and don't ask for help. If I didn't ask for help, I have my accountants, lawyers, and bankers. I go into business like a rugby team, strong and ready. But the average person thinks, oh, I'm smart, I can do this alone. Then a bunch of rugby players run them over, and they say it's not fair. Well, you're not being smart. You need a team. You need accountants, lawyers, and bankers. If you don't want to play that way, then don't. Business is played with accountants, lawyers, and bankers, and yes, even politicians. You need to understand how it works. I tell young people to find their way. My way is business first, then real estate. That's why I pay no taxes. It's a mix of business and real estate that gives us an edge over regular workers. They don't know what to do. You know your super ego was taught to get a job and work hard or you won't be rich, or that rich people are bad or something like that. Until you change how you think, money won't help you, right? That's true. And we see this with lottery winners or people who earn more money. They still have the same issues because they have that poor mindset. If you're poor, you'll stay poor. That's hard for many to get. Money can go away quickly, just like many pro athletes. They earn millions, yet 65 are broke in 5 years. It's because they come from poor families. If you tell them that, they get angry. They think it's the rich people's fault or the government's fault. But sadly, what Mr. Lipton said is true. It's passed down through families. That's the scary part. Thank you.